And I would have loved to just send them a message to be like, hey guys, peace, good luck. Done. Dunzo. Send the Mac back. Put it in the mail today, bitch. That's what they said. Man, corporate is...
I really don't think a lot of people in corporate America really understand what's going to happen over the next 12 to 18 months, particularly at really large corporate companies. They're calling it the Great Restructuring.
Accenture just laid off 11,000 people, citing AI. I think it's just the beginning, unfortunately.
All right, so here we are. There's more job losses happening right now. We saw the data come out. It wasn't great. And now we're fighting inflation or job losses. Pick your poison. We got the shutdown coming. We got mass layoffs, and we got AI doing a lot of business that's hurting a lot of people. And the Federal Reserve is picking one over the other, and they're starting to lower interest rates because they know they're in trouble. Let's jump into this. We're hearing from people that are actually getting laid off right now, and it is mind-boggling. And some companies are saying we got to cut employees, the number one cost of our business, because we got to increase profit. This is wild.
It is confirmed. My company just sent out an email that they're laying off a large group of people tomorrow morning. In case you're new here, I was laid off in March this year. It took me 6 months to find a new job. Got a new job 7 weeks ago, and now this new job has announced hundreds of layoffs. What am I supposed to do here? Is this like a last one in, first one out situation? Is it like get rid of all the like highest paid people? Is it like keep the new hires because they were hired under a secret pretense of like knowing that these layoffs would be coming, and so we like definitely want the new people? That's gotta be it, right? I'm not even eligible for my corporate benefits. That's how little time I've been at this new job. I'm not even eligible for PTO. I'm not eligible for medical benefits yet. I still have a week to go. You're telling me that I might get laid off before I even get a chance to sign up for that shit? Part of me is like...
This sounds pre-planned. What do you think? Comments down below. I want to know all of your thoughts. I think a lot of this is a little this and a little that.
Move quick in the tech world. Like, just got off a Zoom call not even 15 seconds ago. My computer restarts. Now it's locked. They're just so impersonable about the way they do this. Like, there was a really good number of colleagues that I worked with on this team that I actually really enjoyed working with, and I would have loved to just send them a message to be like, hey guys, peace, good luck. Done. Dunzo. Send the Mac back. Put it in the mail today, bitch. That's what they said. Man, corporate is... In some ways, it feels like this weird existential punishment. Like, I don't know what I did in a past life. I know I'm doing great things in this current life. Like, maybe in a past life before I was reincarnated into this one, maybe I did wrong, and it feels like they've chained me to this desk as punishment and retribution. Yeah, I don't know. All I can do is kind of like laugh and cry and laugh. That's like kind of my shtick, you know? Anyways,
it is wild how fast they can just get rid of people, you know? And with the excuse of AI being able to replace you, they've got no reason to just hold off. And it's going to be even worse in the future. Let's hear what this guy's saying.
Accenture just laid off 11,000 people, citing AI. I think it's just the beginning, unfortunately. And I also don't think it's just because of AI efficiency within Accenture itself, but I actually think it's because the efficiency gains from AI in their clients. So their clients are becoming more efficient. They need Accenture less and less. That is resulting into Accenture doing these layoffs. They do warn that they are expecting additional layoffs due to AI. So I think it's really only the beginning. The whole AI layoffs has just begun.
I mean, this is every sector. Even real estate's talking about it. But I do wonder, is it a tad bubble? Is it a tad premature? Are we going too fast with this? Because a large part of the S&P 500 right now is tech AI related. This is going to be very interesting. Hopefully, this is not a .com boom and bust.
Wake up, scroll on TikTok, get coffee, checking emails to see we regret to inform you, locking in and applying to more jobs, refreshing LinkedIn, getting ghosted, crash out nap, apply to more jobs, crying, dinner, scroll some more on TikTok, and then sleep.
I get she's being funny, and I think this is becoming a thing, but like, she's got some nice stuff behind her. Aren't you worried about making money, or is everybody just that well off? Because I know if I was unemployed, I'd be like, well, we gotta get a move on this. There's no TikToking, there's no scrolling, there's no going to the gym. It's like, might do that for a day or two, but we gotta get the move on, to get the plan on, to do some milk money, okay? And that's what I tell Jack. We gotta go get some milk money. It's always great to hear what people are saying in the comments section. You know, they're talking about outsourcing, and a lot of them may be lying. AI not as efficient to lay people off as they think they are, and they're just outsourcing it. Are we saying it's AI, but we're really just going and getting some people from the Philippines? I know a couple companies doing that right now, because you can hire somebody from the Philippines with a master's degree for like $10 an hour. No health insurance, no benefits. And that's what a lot of these companies are doing, which I wonder how it's not illegal. You know, we've always said like a New York firm can poach talent from like Northwest Florida, pay them more than anybody in Northwest Florida, and you know, and they can operate over the internet. How is this stuff supposed to all play out? This is going to be very interesting.
I really don't think a lot of people in corporate America really understand what's going to happen over the next 12 to 18 months, particularly at really large corporate companies. They're calling it the Great Restructuring, and essentially what they're doing is looking at each position, each role within the company, and looking at what the processes are and seeing where the repetitive work is. And they're figuring out whether or not they can augment or even replace positions with technology, with AI. And so if you're doing a job that has a lot of repetitive tasks, or maybe you're working on a lot of cross-functional teams, and you're working on projects that are taking years and years, companies are actively looking at how they can replace you. They're looking about how they can get the same amount of work or more work done with less people. You see, the most expensive part of any company is the people, and that's why we see these mass layoffs. And so over the next 12 to 18 months, we are going to continue to see large layoffs. So if you're working at a really big company, or you know someone who is, you need to pay attention to this. You need to figure out whether or not you're doing a lot of repetitive work. And if you are, you need to know that you are at high risk of getting laid off. It's absolutely crazy.
You know, so much of this stuff is starting to fall in line. I mean, we got massive amounts of federal employees looking at either quitting or being laid off, or furloughed, or both. You've got government ready to shut down, which I guess it's going to. And then we've got all the generals right now being briefed by the Secretary of War. And what is all this saying? I think we're about to see some massive changes, and they can do it with AI. I don't think the federal government is going to like angle towards AI, because most of the federal workforce is about creating jobs for voters, you know? And I do think that in the civilian sector, the private sector, it will be about implementing AI and getting rid of jobs. Some of these tech firms can be run with just a handful of people, but when you're looking at a project that's 6, 8, 10 years in advance, you know, in the future, you got to be thinking like, do I really want to pay these employees that much over the course of this time? It's going to be a large part of the budget of the project. And I will be interested to see how the federal government and legislatures write in some type of contractual stuff that DoD contractors or DOW contractors cannot replace a worker with AI. They're going to hedge in jobs, because most of these defense, I guess we're calling it defense or DOW jobs, are about creating jobs, you know? Comments down below, what do you think? But this is going to be so interesting. I think a lot of these corporations are semi-hurting anyways, and they've cooked the books so much they got to make it up with employees. And I think that's Starbucks. I think that's a lot of these companies, Accenture, that we're seeing. It's just laid off so many people.
Well, in case you needed more evidence that big corporate is definitely a profit over people. In case you needed more evidence that big corporate is definitely a profit over people playbook. Starbucks' latest announcement today shows you that their forced RTO didn't get the results they were looking for. And by results, I mean they didn't get enough people to quit that they had hoped. So now they're resorting to more of a mass layoff and some store closings. And don't be fooled for a minute that this is actually something that's going to help the company, right? Move it forward. This is purely a cost-cutting exercise to get to the profitability. Because if you remember when I posted on this way back when, the C-suite is completely tied to a profitability bonus, right? So they have to take expenses out, and it's not a top line. I'm sure they've got some incentive for top line, but at the end of the day, they need profitability and they need to drive the stock price up. That's all this is. And if you think all the moves today were coincidental, they're not. It's purely about taking expense out of the business because his grand strategy, CEOs, has not worked. So again, when you think about that playbook, it's the forced RTO. Hopefully you get people to quit. When they don't quit, then you do layoffs. Right now, I think this is their second big one of the year, which tells me that they're going to miss their quarterly profit number again, and the CEO's under intense pressure to deliver. So anyway, if you're a Gen Xer still hanging out in corporate, waiting for things to get better, they're not going to get better. Starbucks is just one example.
I have wondered in businesses like Starbucks, McDonald's, things like that, that automation hasn't completely taken over. You know, I went through a Taco Bell line the other day. It was all automated, and one of them had a outsourced person from another country answering the orders on the drive-thru. Very interesting. I saw a Hilton, I think it was the same thing too. You checked in on a kiosk from an outsourced person in another country instead of at the desk with a normal person. The stuff is coming. It's coming fast. And this is how they're going to increase profits. I've said for a while that it's going to be interesting if AI can reduce the costs of producing said item and things get cheaper, or will they keep the price point where it is and margins will get better and the amount of money they're making per trinket will go up. This is going to be so interesting, but yet so scary at the same time.
Guys, so some really exciting stuff is going to happen today. About 3 o'clock, I'll find out whether or not I still have a job. In my case, in my job's case, Donald Trump's administration simply may not greenlight the money that's on the table. And who knows? Today might be the last day, at least for a while. So I guess in a way, it would be like a layoff in a way. And my job is just like, you know, they're trying to communicate the best they can to people, but it's obviously difficult. And I already had a personal situation going on with them. And so a personal admin situation specifically. And so this is simply the icing on the cake. Like, this is the icing on the cake. Truly. So at this rate, I don't know. I'm thinking about everything that I need to do with my life in the event that I can no longer rely on my job to sustain me.
I mean, look at this comment right here. We regret to inform you hurts every time. That's so true. I mean, it's the classic line, you know? I can't imagine getting that phone call. Crash out, nap. That's a thing. When you're so tired and delirious, you just can't do anything but take a nap. I felt like that when my dad was passing. You just got to go take a nap because there's just so much going on in your head, you know. And LinkedIn, yeah, that's right. It's not helping either. It's just not helping. It's trash. I gave up on LinkedIn a very long time ago. Well, I hope she still has her job. You know, it hurts me to hear these stories when people get laid off, because that means mortgages not getting paid, car payments not getting paid, kids not going to the school they need to be going. That means people are not buying things, so it means that money is not circulating in the economy across the board. And I hope this doesn't get worse, and I'm hoping that a bank doesn't break or the real estate sector doesn't break or something big. Do you think something's gonna break? Comment down below with your opinions. We need to argue about this, some discourse. We need to let politicians know, hey, stop shutting down the government. They need to behave and do their job with a lot amount of time that they do. And how can they change these sessions? Like, oh, you know, we're not gonna all come back and do our job. We're gonna wait until next session. You know, like, what is all this? Why can't these adults do their jobs? You know, and should they be in office for 4 years? No, that's where a lot of our problems come from. That's for a different video. Comments down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.